was basically see that the assumption that I had to realize here was that only will have one type of payment, when the reality was that exists different type of payment. For instance, payment for from a Mastercard, payments from uh, NX also. So I had to realize one this kind of assumption.
How did you adjust the design and implementation once you realized your assumption was wrong?
I had to decide to recheck my design and adjust the architecture for it.
How did you change your schema or contracts to support multiple payment types without breaking the existing flow?
Okay, the problem wasn't the that I didn't had I the problem wasn't that I needed to have many schemas, because the schema perfectly works for all payments. So I didn't have a problem for that. The unique problem is that I had one assumption that I will have only one type of payment, but it couldn't it didn't affect to the design or the schema.
How did you decide what schema versioning, if any, to use, and what was the key trade-off? Are you still there?
Yeah, I am
If
here.
so, tell me briefly how you handled versioning or compatibility while you made that change. Okay, thanks. How did you handle versioning or compatibility while you made that change?
I didn't realize one version for that schema, because we was working with one we was working in one non-relational database. In our case, we was working with DynamoDB. So for our case, wasn't necessary. We didn't have tools to realize one versioning of the schema.
Okay, that makes sense. How did you know when issues arose or what to fix once it was in production?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
How did you know when issues arose and what did you fix once it was in production?
To fix one problem is basically seeing we was monitoring constantly our application, uh, and in some cases we receive uh, support. We received support because they had some errors. So with that, I had to solve it, and also we analyze the dashboard, the panels, to monitor it. And if I see errors, I I planified how to fix it.
Okay, that sounds structured. What was the most challenging fix you planned and how did you implement it?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
What was the hardest fix you planned? What triggered it? And how did you carry it out step by step?
The most hardest fix that I realized was basically uh, synchronize the infrastructure, infrastructure code, infrastructure deployment with the current state with the infrastructure console. There was one problem where this had problems with coordination with exact state. That means that the state was corrupt. Uh, and it was difficult because if I continue to if I if I if I continued doing modifications over the corrupted state of the infrastructure as code, it's highly probable that I worse the problem. So the way that I solved it was basically realize some tests in one testing environment, development environment, and once I was sure that uh, that the solution will work. I think applied that solution that I tested previously in testing environment.
That's a solid account. Who else was involved? And did anyone push back or disagree with how you handled it?
Yes, I had some another developers wasn't agree with me, but I convinced once I demonstrate results on the on the development environment. I can't listen you. Are you there?
I didn't. Yes, I'm here. If you're having trouble speaking in English, please try to continue in English as the interview is recorded and assessed that way. Now, for AI governance at Distillery, what was the goal and what did you personally implement?
The goal was basically create one agentic application that allowed to healthcare professionals deliver nutritional plans in a quicker way. Uh, it That was the goal in that company.
What did you implement to enforce the policies? And what was the hardest requirement to balance?
Okay, the thing that I implement to enforce the policies was basically one RAG, uh, one RAG strategy, one RAG pattern design, where I used the policies that the agentic application should accomplish with it, uh, giving the information, the document with a policy, the document that contains this policy, and I used to fit my RAG. So when I created this RAG, I used AI applications to I used one LLM provider to accomplish with the requirements of that policy.
What specific validation checks did you put in place to ensure the policy was actually satisfied in real requests?
The validation that I realized was basically the answer that returned the LLM, where I defined what are the evaluation, the data set that will realize the evaluation about the results, and I compared if the result match with the expected result that I was waiting.
Got it. Who was consuming that validation? And how did you collaborate to make sure the team's expectations matched that result?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
Who used that validation? And how did you collaborate to align expectations with the rest of the team?
One more time, could you repeat your question again, please?
Who used that validation? And how did you collaborate to align expectations with the rest of the team?
I use this validation, uh, and basically to realize this validation, I use one data set. This data set was shared with a team also to realize test, to realize evaluation every time that we realize some changes in the prompt or in the LLM. Yeah,
Who owned the model or prompt changes? And how did your validation help them feel confident in shipping updates?
can you repeat your question again, please?
Who owned the model or prompt changes? And how did your validation give them confidence to ship updates?
I owned of the prompt changes, and I used the data set to constantly uh, validate every change that we realize in our solution.
How did you handle feedback from users or reviewers when your validation output disagreed with the expected behavior?
I recheck. I tested again my the agentic application to see what was the problem with it. If the problem was with the prompt, if the problem was uh, with the LLM, with if the problem was is with a provider or one specific version of the model that we was using. So I catch the feedback of the stakeholder, and I started to analyze and implement how to solve it.
That's a solid approach. What measurable impact did your validation and prompt or provider adjustments have, like improved error rates, response quality, or stability?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
What measurable impact did your validation and adjustments have, like fewer errors, better quality, or better stability?
The impact of it was basically different things. Was better stability, was better prompts, was less error rates.
Nice. That's clear. What metrics or dashboards did you rely on to confirm the error rate and stability improved?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
What metrics or dashboards did you use to confirm the error rate and stability improved?
The metrics that we used was basically uh, uh, we implement one scoring the response. We score the different response where basically if the response was good, the stakeholder, the user has the user had feedback as marking if their answer was good. We constantly saved it to see to scoring the answer and using this scoring to analyze if our score was higher, that means that the response was good. If the score was lower, that means that the response wasn't so good. So we used this scoring implementation to see when one module when the agentic application was having good results.
Okay, thanks. For my last question, is there a project on your resume that better shows your technical depth than what we covered?
Can you repeat your question again, please?
Sure. Is there another project on your resume that better shows your technical depth than what we've covered so far?
Yes. Sorry, no.
Great. What specifically makes that project a better show of your technical depth? For example, a key decision, a complex problem, or an area where you owned the design.
Can you repeat your question again, please?
What makes that project show your technical depth better? Like a key decision, a complex problem, or a design you owned? We're almost out of time, so let's wrap up the interview.
Okay.
Thanks so much for your time today. It was truly a pleasure talking with you. Take care.
Okay, take care.